Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our new case discussion session. First, I want to remind you all to like, subscribe, and share. If you are not subscribed yet to our channel, support us so that we keep doing these presentations. And second of all, if you are not a member of our WhatsApp group, I will leave the link to in the video description, and you can join us for the announcement of the upcoming events and upcoming case discussions and things like that. And I'll be more than happy to talk to you and to see what is going on with you. So let's not waste more time. Let's start with this 31-year-old female patient who is presented with sudden onset severe cough. Before that, she was relatively normal, nothing really serious to complain of. So she started suddenly coughing with expectoration. So let's start with the scout view and consider it as a chest X-ray. What do you think is going on here?
Okay, I'm presented with a scout view of an adult female patient. The most striking abnormality I can see relatively lucency of the left hemithorax in comparison with the right side. I cannot see the left breast shadow.
Okay.
I want to correlate with clinical history if the patient had previous mastectomy or
He has
not.
no history of previous surgeries at all.
Okay, so this is likely due to rotation and overlapping.
Okay.
The most striking abnormality is right-sided, decreased lung volume, and blunting of right costophrenic and cardiophrenic angles as well. There is also I cannot see any calcifications.
Okay.
But there is so this indicates pleural effusion.
So we have right-sided pleural effusion.
Pleural effusion, yes.
Okay.
And also there is a linear density extending from the likely due to pleural thickening or fissural thickenings at the middle of the right hemithorax.
You're talking about this thing here?
Yes.
Okay.
Trachea is central. Bony skeleton is
Nice.
likely unremarkable.
Good. So what is your primary impression? What's the cause of her complaint?
Doctor, in correlation with clinical history, acute exacerbation, shortness of breath, and cough, the first differential is infection, pneumonia.
Good.
Yes.
What about this round thing here? How would you comment on this thing?
Yes, now I appreciate lucency, a well-defined lucency at the right, middle, and lower zone. Maybe if it is a clinical, if it is a acute presentation, so maybe it is a hydatid cyst and ruptured hydatid cyst.
Possible.
Yes, also it's a cavitary lesion, maybe TB, but it's less likely due to the location of the cavity.
Possible.
Pneumatocoel can be, but there is no background emphysematous lung.
Good.
Yes. But also trauma is a possibility, but no trauma. Infection, doctor. If there was the previous infection, the pneumatocoel can be a consequence of previous infection.
Nice. So let's go to the chest CT scan. We did a chest CT scan without contrast because the patient, was in severe cough, and we were afraid of some sort of asthmatic exacerbation or some sort of allergy, so we didn't give any contrast.
Yes.
So I'm commenting diaphragmatic hernia is also a possibility. Well, yeah, of course. It is
yes,
doctor,
but I couldn't appreciate any defect or any continuity of the intra-abdominal gas with the intrathoracic one.
I agree. Okay.
Yes, I'm presented with a chest CT scan, soft tissue window, native study, no contrast. The most striking abnormality is right-sided, marked pleural effusion. Now I can see the lung window as well. There was moderate pleural effusion at right side. I want to scroll down more to see the now I can see a cavitary lesion. Yes, exactly. I can see a cavitary lesion at the right lower lobe with undulating membranes layered over the dependent part with the pleural effusion. There is also a ruptured there's also a ruptured membrane at the lateral part of the cavity.
So it is talking about this thing here, right?
Exactly. So it is
Water lily
the
sign.
water lily, exactly, water lily sign.
Okay.
So it is a diagnostic for ruptured hydatid cyst.
So that is very nicely explaining the reason of sudden onset coughing and expectoration. This is a ruptured hydatid cyst, and the interesting thing is, where do you think the gas within the cyst is coming from?
It's endobronchial connection, doctor.
It must
So
have
it
a
is
bronchial connection.
yeah,
Otherwise,
coughing,
this air would not be here.
coughing up of membranes. There will be, whenever there is sputum, there will be membranous parts within it.
Yep, you are perfectly correct. And if we try and scroll, we can see some bronchi here and there leading to the...
Yeah. There's also consolidation surrounding consolidative area.
Yeah, there's also consolidation surrounding it. So our diagnosis here is
Ruptured hydatid cyst.
Ruptured hydatid cyst in the right lung. Of course, the pleural effusion is parts of the fluid of the cyst, and the crumbled cyst here that you can see very nicely demonstrated. It's the daughter cyst crumbled inside the parent cyst, let's say, right?
In my routine practice, I also check for liver.
Check for liver.
any
very nice. Very good
lesion.
Point of view. Very good thing to say, because liver is a very common site for hydatid cysts, and as far as I can see, the liver looks good here. Probably some splenomegaly, I'm not sure, but it looks good to me, the liver, right?
Yes.
Good. Thank you very much. That's a very nice approach to the case. So this is a 48-year-old male patient who is having some vague abdominal symptoms out of no significant previous history, let's say. So abdominal ultrasound was relatively normal, nothing big, so CT scan was ordered, okay?
So I'm presented with contrast enhanced CT abdomen.
Mm-hmm.
The most striking abnormality is bilateral hydronephrosis and hydroureter, I think.
Good.
Yes, there is also a soft tissue density surrounding the aorta and renal vessels. Beautiful. Extending from the upper abdomen downwards.
Beautiful.
The aorta seen connected to the near to the vertebra, not displaced anteriorly.
Nice.
So my first, I don't see any lymph nodes as well, but I cannot see any remarkable enlarged lymph node. So this is a case of retroperitoneal fibrosis with secondary bilateral hydroureter nephrosis due to medial deviation of the ureters. I want to see the delayed image to see the ureter course of ureters as well.
You are so good. I love what you are doing. Very nice, very nice. I don't know whether if I have the delayed images or not. I really don't know. They didn't send me the delayed. Yeah, I don't have the delayed, unfortunately. But anyway, what we can see here, although we don't have a delayed images, we can see that this is the ureter, and we can see that this is the ureter here.
It's medialized.
They are both diverted medially. So, what is other differential diagnosis of this presentation?
Yeah, first differential diagnosis is lymphoma, but in lymphoma there will be multiple other group enlarged lymph nodes. Also, the aorta is displaced anteriorly, and the vessels are floated within the mass. Encased but not invaded, the vessels.
Exactly.
What is called a floating vessel sign.
Nice, like this one here.
Exactly. There is also another differential of, for example, testicular carcinoma.
Nice.
There will be para-aortic lymph nodes as well. So, doctor, in this case, it is routinely checked for pancreas, for autoimmune pancreatitis, for renal thyroiditis, for primary sclerosing cholangitis, which are correlated with autoimmune diseases, IG4 conditions. So the management of this case is urgent urological consultation and referral for bilateral nephrostomy to save the kidneys and urinary diversion.
Mm-hmm. What about treatment?
Retroperitoneal fibrosis, steroid, I think, doctor.
It's treated like with methotrexate.
Methotrexate, okay.
Methotrexate. To reduce that, it will not go away, but to reduce it, and we cannot remove it, obviously, it's encasing the aorta and the big vessel, so it's not easy to operate. And the interesting thing is, when you touch it, it will be more.
Increase.
So don't touch it. Okay, treat, don't touch. Good, good. So this is a case of retroperitoneal fibrosis, and you can see that it's starting below the level of the renal arteries, and it is encasing both ureters with medial deviation of the ureters, and this is confirming for retroperitoneal fibrosis because lymphoma will cause displacement of the vessels, and it will be in form of multiple lymph nodes. Even if coalescing, it will displace the aorta away from the vertebral body, while the aorta is in contact with and it's in normal anatomical position. Very nice. So this is a 20-year-old female patient with abdominal and pelvic distension, and the ultrasound shows a large lesion. So MRI was recommended.
Okay, I'm presented by sagittal, coronal, and axial view section of pelvis. There's a well-defined multiloculated lesion. It's arising from the pelvis, extending to the abdomen, to the right side of the abdomen. It's hyperintense on T1, T2.
It's hyperintense on T1 and T2. So for example, this thing here, it's hypo, and on T2 it's hyper. While this thing here, it's hyper. While on T2 again, it's hyper. So it's multiloculated, multicystic, with different signal intensities of the different cystic components, okay?
Yeah.
So it's multicystic with different signal intensities. Some are hyper, some are hypo on T1, while on T2 they almost all appear hyperintense.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
I think it's an ovarian lesion.
Ovarian lesion. Let's try and look into the pelvis. Maybe we see something. I don't know. Can you see the ovaries? This is the left one, right?
Yeah.
And we definitely cannot see the right one.
The right one. Yeah.
So what do you want to do next? What is your differential diagnosis?
Yeah, I think it's an mucinous cyst adenoma or carcinoma.
Okay. So what's your next step?
Because it's a very large cystic lesion, multiloculated. I can't see any fat signal intensity.
You cannot see any fat signal intensity. Excellent. Good. So what do you want to do?
Actually, I'm shifting to fat sat.
Fat sat. You don't want to give contrast?
Surely we have to give contrast.
This is T1 pre, and this is post contrast. Pre and post, okay?
Yeah.
So, is there any?
No, actually, I can't see any enhancement. There's no any soft tissue enhancements.
So no difference, no significant difference in the pre and post contrast images.
Yeah.
What's your diagnosis or differential diagnosis?
I still remain on my differential.
Which is?
Mucinous cyst adenoma, or my second one would be serous cyst adenoma or carcinoma.
Why not serous?
Because it's multiloculated, actually. And according to the age of the case.
Good. Excellent. The age is in the favor of mucinous, and
yes, in favor of mucinous, and there's no any solid component that has been enhanced on post contrast.
Okay. And keep in
mind,
the
size of the lesion and size, it's very large lesion.
It's large. Mucinous is usually large, and usually mucinous it presents with different intensity locules because there's different amount of mucinous material or proteinaceous material within the cystic components, and since there's no soft tissue component, no significant post-contrast enhancement, no lymph nodes, no signs of invasion into adjacent structures, so this is highly in favor of mucinous cyst adenoma rather than cyst adenocarcinoma. Okay, excellent, good job. Thank you very much. Don't forget, like, subscribe, share, and support us. In the coming weeks, we will have a lot of other meetings, and don't forget to click on the link in the YouTube video description section. You'll have the WhatsApp link, and you can join us in our group and get to be informed on the timing of the coming meetings. Thank you very much, and good night. Bye-bye.